Hi guys, if you're a skilled worker in the UK sponsored by a company to come and work on a full-time basis here in the UK, and after arriving in the UK, for those who are sponsored from abroad, on arriving in the UK, your employer is unable to give you the number of contractual hours that you are supposed to work per week here in the UK. That is a red flag. So if you are here in the UK on a sponsorship visa and you are unable to work the complete contractual hour your employer sponsored you to come and work here in the UK, that become an issue. So you need to stick with me to the end of this video to get the full information, because so many persons has been receiving letters from UK Home Office about not obliging to their contractual hour without knowing that the fault is not from the employee but the employer. So guys, you need to stick with me to the end of this video to get the full information. Hi guys, if you are coming across this channel for the first time or you are seeing me for the first time, my name is Victor. In this channel, I give latest updates about UK and UK immigration, ways you can study abroad, and ways you can also migrate through the skilled workers migration route. If this content look exciting to you and look like something that interests you, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to join the amazing growing family. You can give a thumb up to this video so YouTube can recommend to a wider audience, and you can as well leave your thoughts on the comment box. So guys, without further ado, let's get started. There are some certain criteria that qualify you to be a skilled worker. Before an employer can sponsor you as a skilled worker, you must meet some certain criteria before you can be sponsored as a skilled worker. One of the basic requirements is you must be on a full-time contract. Full-time contractual hour in the UK is 30 hours or 37.5 hours, as the case may be. So for an employer to sponsor you as a skilled worker, you must be on a full-time role for you to be able to qualify for that sponsorship right. With that in mind, you cannot be sponsored on a part-time basis. For those who are working 20 hours a week, like international students in the UK who are not allowed to work more than 20 hours during term time, they are not qualified for a sponsorship role, because 20 hours is not the required hour that qualifies you for a full-time employment. So for an employer to sponsor you, it must be on a full-time basis, with all other requirements like in terms of salary, the amount you are supposed to earn per annum, the amount you are supposed to earn per hour. So all of this put together will qualify you for a skilled worker's job. Now, after you've been sponsored by an employer to come and work on a full-time basis, on arriving the UK, the employer is unable to give you the normal contractual hour that qualify you for skilled worker sponsorship in the first place, which is minimum 30 hours or 37.5 hours, as the case may be. Upon resumption, if your employer is unable to give you the contractual hour you are employed to come and do in that company, that on its own is a breach on the part of your employer, and you, the employee, with that you are not meeting up to some of the conditions that qualify you to earn that sponsorship that is keeping you here in the UK to work with that organization. It is a requirement that you must work for your employer that sponsor you to come to the UK or remain back in the UK, for those who switch from Tier 4 student visa to a Tier 2 work visa. So upon resumption, if your employer is unable to provide you with the contractual hour that you are supposed to work for that company, that on its own is a breach of your Tier 2 work visa. I know of a migrant here in the UK who got a letter from UK Home Office warning him of going against his Tier 2 work visa. Some of the reason they gave was he's not working the normal contractual hour he was sponsored to come and work here in the UK. This fellow came into the UK December 2022, and till date, the employer has not been able to give him a job placement that he was sponsored to come and do here. They keep telling him to hold on. When there is available space, he will be contacted and his shift pattern will be arranged for him to start working. Imagine December till date, which is about 10 months or so, this guy has not done a single shift with the employer that sponsored him to come and work here in the UK. But because he need to pay his bills and have money to meet up all that bills obligation, he decided to start working 20 hours with an agency, which is allowed within the tier 2 sponsorship route. You can work 20 hours in a second employment, right? That he has not breached any of the tier 2 visa condition. But the Home Office is telling him that he has been in the UK for a couple of months, I think about 10 months plus, but he has not done a single shift with the employer that sponsored him to come and work here in the UK. One other question that comes to my mind when he told me he got a letter from the UK Home Office telling him this is the final warning because he's going against his tier 2 visa condition, right? So I was curious and surprised, how do the Home Office come to know that he is not working with the employer that sponsored him to come and work here in the UK, right? All of this can be verified and they can easily get any information about you if they want to. The information we later got was that Her Majesty Revenue Collection Services, which is in charge of collecting tax in the UK, have sent names of full-time employees that are sponsored to come and work here in the UK that are not remitting tax to the government. So you can see where all of the issue is coming from. You are sponsored as a full-time worker to come and work here in the UK. And once you are working full-time here in the UK, definitely your earning must be within the threshold that is taxable, right? For those that are sponsored to come and work here on a full-time basis by an employer, but because the employer is unable to give them enough shift to cover their contractual hour, they could not earn enough money that will place them on that threshold to be taxed for the job they've done for either the month or the week, as the case may be. That is how the UK Home Office gets to know about those that are not working with their employer on a full-time basis. The fault is not from the migrant or the employee, but the employer. Like I did said in most of my video, once things go south, the employer has little to lose, but you, the employee that is sponsored to come and work here in the UK, has a whole lot to lose. Imagine Her Majesty Revenue Commission sending list of employees that are on full-time employment that are not remitting tax to the UK government. The fault is not from you as employee, but the employer. The UK Home Office will now contact you to tell you you are defaulting in your contractual obligation by not working the contractual hour you are sponsored to come and do here. Unknowing to them, you are willing and able to work, but your employer is unable to provide the contractual hour that they sponsored you to come and work here in the UK. So many questions pop up at this point. Is it possible for one to hold the employer responsible for not giving you enough working hour to be able to meet up your contractual hour? Now that this is becoming an issue, I think it's high time migrants start raising concern about employers who employed migrants to come and work in the UK without having enough work placement for them to be able to cover their contractual hour they are sponsored to come and work here in the UK. So if you fall within this category, I will advise you start looking for alternative, because the UK Home Office can easily get all the information about your work hour through Her Majesty Revenue Collection, because it's presumed you are sponsored to come and work here on a full-time basis. Nobody will sponsor you if you are coming here to work on a part-time basis, because those who work on part-time basis, sometimes they don't work up to the threshold for them to be taxed. There's a particular amount you can work per week or per month before you will be within the threshold to be taxed for a particular job you've done for the period of time. So guys, if you're a migrant working here in the UK, sponsored by an employer to come and do a certain job on a certain contractual hour, you need to start sounding this to your employer that you are going against your tier 2 visa condition because you are sponsored to come and work a particular number of hours as a full-time. And if they are not giving you enough shift that will justify that full-time role, that become an issue. By the time you get a letter from the UK Home Office, telling you are going against your tier 2 visa condition for reason or fault that is not yours, that will be unfair to you. So you need to start knocking at the door of your employer, urging them to start giving you the required shift for you to be able to work a decent hour and be justified as full-time role. So guys, I thought I should share this vital information with you. There are so many persons in the UK who are sponsored to come and work here. On arriving in the UK, the employer will tell them to wait until they get available space for them to work, which most of the time they never get back to you, and you just be there stranded or looking for a different alternative to see how you can make ends meet, while the employer has already moved ahead. If you fall within this category, you are not doing yourself good. You just need to start looking for alternative and start knocking at the door of your employer to try and see how that issue can be fixed. So guys, we've come to the end of this video. If you gain value for this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Leave a thumb up so YouTube can recommend to a wider audience, and you can as well leave your thoughts on the comment box. See you in my next video.